Nogdar the Headhunter, another brand new legendary champion which looks absolutely amazing. We want to see just how hard he hits, so we're going to go over his kit, we're going to go over the gear that we have on this account, we're going to take him for a spin in a couple different places. Let's get right to it. So first off, let me give a huge shout out to the Ghost here for letting me showcase this champion on his account. We're going to go over the gear in a second. First, let's start with the skills. We have a very hard hitting A1. I'll show you guys the multipliers in a second. If you kill an enemy, you get an extra turn and you heal on top of that. It is not booked. The A2 is booked, and this skill will sacrifice HP after you've hit the enemies. This is an AoE nuke. It hits insanely hard. I'll show you guys those multipliers as well in a second. On top of that, we place 2 continuous heals, which is a good thing because we just sacrifice some HP, but this might trigger a torment, so be careful. This will also kill this champion. I'll also point out it scales off of attack and HP. As for the passive, we basically revive with 50% HP and 50% turn meter if all other allies are alive. This is important to understand, and it does say that if there are 3 or fewer champions on the team, it does not work. So you don't go in there with 3 champs, he dies, he won't come back up. You got to go in there with at least 4 champions, he dies, all the other 3 are alive, then he's going to come back up. As for the A3, this is you sacrifice 50% HP and then you equalize your HP with the enemy, right? So this is meant to literally just eat up some HP of this champ, but also the enemy, regardless of how tanky they are. I guess it can be pretty good, let's say, against a Krisk or something. It also looks like it's an action, and I don't think it requires accuracy, don't quote me on that, but from what I've tested so far, it didn't look like it really failed at any given point, so that is kind of very interesting there as well. And then for the aura here, we have 33% increased attack in all battles. Now here are the multipliers: 3.3 times the attack on the A1, and we got 3.2 times the attack on the A2, the AoE nuke, plus 0.5 HP. This guy has really low HP, right? Obviously, you're probably going to stack up way more attack than you do HP, so this is not a Mountain King, right? Very different champion, but I guess similar in a way because of that. And then here are the masteries that he chose. We have Helm Smasher here for the tier 6, and we have into defense here with Retribution for obviously counter attacks on his A1. Now let's go over his gear here real quick. We have Savage with some crit rate, crit damage, and accuracy. We have here for the cruel pieces, speed, crit damage. As for the shield, some crit rate, crit damage, speed. Again, you can kind of see what we're trying to do here. Just stack up as much attack percent right there as we can. Crit damage, 6-star gloves, attack percent, chest piece. For the boots, we have some speed, attack here with a couple rolls on attack percent. This is beautiful. Then we have a 6-star crit damage amulet and an attack banner. All right, so you're not really too worried about accuracy on this champion. It's just all about raw damage. So now let's go see what he can do. All right, starting with the Fire Knight, his spirit affinity, therefore you would imagine that he would be strong in here, which he is right there. Boom, look at those big hits against the waves. That is number 1. This guy will clear some waves, right? We even have Zorgala in here to make this a little bit faster. When we get to the boss, though, he might not necessarily be perfect for this, but we're just trying to, for the time being, showcase how hard he can hit on the regular dungeons, right? So we're going to take a turn here, and I do believe he's going to go for last rites. I think he will always prioritize that skill. So right there, we take some hit, and you saw just how much damage we dealt to that Lich, and he's almost dead. We don't care. We can heal with Arbiter, but we can also die. We'll take that. If we die, we come right back up, and we get 50% turn meter. So you almost want that to happen on this champion. Unless, of course, they get a block revive, then you'll be, you know, unfortunately, it won't be as good. So now we're going to get the A1 here, and boom, we get an extra turn. We go right into our A2 yet again, all right? So this can really snowball into much like a Zorgala dealing a ton of damage, and I think that is pretty huge. So now let's quickly fast forward to the boss here. We want to see how exactly this is going to play out. Again, this is not going to be perfect because I'm going to say that here he's not exactly best in slot for specifically this, the Fire Knight. But let's see what's going to happen here. We got, unfortunately, no crit right there. We do only have 75% crit rate. I'm going to point that out. But you know what? This player did his best with his current gear. So eventually, of course, we want to try and hit that mark. But we can still see just how hard he hits when we do get a crit rate. And then right there, we got an AoE. No decreased defense. We even had the increased crit damage buff. Now we have increased attack. We're going to get one more hit. A1 right there. 82k from that A1. Okay, so guys, he can kill with the A1 too. It hits really, really hard. hard. So let's fast forward to the end here for the end of this Fire Knight run, and we're done, and reasonable. All right, now let's move on. All right, so here we're in the Doom Tower, the normal Doom Tower. I forget which floor, but we're just doing our best with the team that he currently has. So we have a Mashald in here, which will add our crowd control. We also have a counterattack Valkyrie, which is kind of neat. So if we get a couple extra A1s from this champion, I think that's going to be great. But let's see here what we're going to get. We got, boom, that big AoE there once again. All right, so that A2 will annihilate waves if you're properly set up for this. We also go into the next round with less HP, but that's all right, because we're leading into the A3. You want to be low health, right? The whole point of this, I believe, is as he's going from A2 to A3 is that you're almost dead. Therefore, you almost reduce the HP of another champion, like that Santa Claus right there, which he's basically now almost dead as well, right? So we're always left with a sliver of health, and it's almost like your next step is to die. That's really what you want from this guy. So you AoE, you reduce the HP of a champion, then you die. You come right back up, and you hopefully get an A1, you kill, right back into your A2. I think that's sort of how he's meant to be used on a longer fight, right? But you can still use him in the arena as a dedicated nuker, as I'll show you guys in a second. So let's just wait here until we get one more hit from our guy. And we should get, I believe it's about to come right there. Okay, we're gonna get a small A1 to finish off of this Shamrock right here. Boom, 46k, very reasonable. Now let's go in the arena. Starting with a quick fight where we're gonna bring in allies join attack. We're also going to bring in a Masteries mage to top us off for our crit rate. All right, so this is not a perfect setup. I would love to bring in AoE decrease defense, but because of the way he's currently built, I just tried to play it this way. All right, so we're also going to have to control with Krila here to guarantee that we get the allies join attack. We're just going to pick a target. Let's go for probably the Style of the Drakes. I think that's what I choose here. Yeah, and then here we go with an allies join attack. Let's try and pay attention to the hit from our big guy here. Boom, 58k. We almost killed that Stag Knight. If like the other champions would be a little bit stronger, that would have been perfect. But now we're right into our A2. And we get a pretty massive hit right there as well. Again, no decreased defense. Now, pay attention, we're almost dead. Okay, so again, sort of like we're hoping to be almost dead as we're going to lead into the next skill, but instead we get killed, we revive, we get a 50% turn meter increase. We get a heal there from Masteries Mage. Not necessarily the best way to do this, but I just needed that extra crit rate, right? And right there, last rites, we're almost dead, but we also almost took down the Style of the Drakes. She's one hit away from dying. So that's what you want with this champion. Take down those really tanky champs. Bring them down to almost like 1 HP, right? Now we're gonna get an A1, which we get a very reasonable 30k HP hit right there. And then I believe this is going to probably finish with 1 or more 2 hits. Right there, 18k, but he did have ally protection on the Masteries Mage. Not Masteries Mage, sorry, but the miscreated monster. We get allies join attack, I believe. Here we go. Again, boom, big hit, 21k, and boom, 45k right there. So guys, he can hit. So in this next fight, we're bringing in counter attack. We're bringing our Masteries for decreased defense. So we want to hit harder, assuming we can get to our guy first. But you'll see that this run doesn't exactly play out to how we want it. We do have our decreased defense right there. But then Rosin takes a turn and is going to reduce our turn meter. But we still get some hits, all right? So pay attention to him going on those A1s. Decreased turn meter. We're going to get a counter attack right there on the Rosin. And right up next, how much damage are we going to deal? Boom, 50k, right? Which is pretty impressive for an A1 counter attack. So very dangerous if you have this guy set up this way. Then it's going to take a while before we cycle back around, but I do believe we counter attack right there as well. Almost killed that Arbiter with 36k, but she did not have decreased defense. So again, if you're properly set up, this guy will nuke basically almost any champion, even with A1. So let's fast forward here a little bit later into the fight. I do believe we're going to take our turn with Nogdar right after this Masteries, if I'm not mistaken. And then we're going to see just how hard he can hit now. We're not going to have decreased defense, however, so my plan didn't really play out how I wanted it to for the Masteries to apply decreased defense. But here we go. Now, are we going to go for that A2? We do. Boom. Huge hit right there, and I do believe we're going to go right back into our A3 last right. See that right there? Again, we don't have any accuracy. That was the weak affinity to him, and it still worked no problem. So I think that A3 is always going to work regardless. I think that's pretty huge. So guys, there you have it. This is Nogdar, the Headhunter, an extremely hard-hitting spirit attack type champion, which I think we don't have a lot of in the game. So let me quickly go back to his gear here. and his total stats. So here's what we have. We have 5.5k, almost 5.6k, sorry, attack. We have 171 speed, 75% crit rate, short of a little bit, but we have 256% crit damage, basically no accuracy, and only 24k HP in a Savage and 2 pieces of Cruel with Helm Smasher, all right? So we're really putting everything we can to maximize his damage. The A1 was not booked. Imagine if it was booked. Imagine if this was booked on top of that. And the A2 was, the A3 is. We can't have any books on the passive. And then here's the Great Hall in case you guys want to compare stats. So again, Spirit type champion. There's a lot of room for improvement in here as well. But guys, overall, this guy is a beast. I want to know what you guys think in the comments below. Hopefully you've learned something today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.